Welcome to another edition of the Lonely Wrist
Oh,
podcast. Today we have my good brother Rony from Georgia, from Tbilisi, reporting in. You need no introduction here, but please tell everybody what you do.
hi everybody. My name is Roni. I'm from Georgia, Tbilisi, not the state of USA, Georgia.
Go Georgia Tech.
I'm from Georgia, and I am in the watch business, a dealer from Tbilisi, buying, selling watches. And we are already operating here from 2016. At the end of 2016, we established as company time center. As for now, we are working online because we are looking for a new location, and hopefully soon we will find new one, and we will start already with the shop again.
A little bit of context on how I met Rony. I was living in Georgia for, I don't know, like 7 or 8 months or something. And of course, me being a watch guy, I went to like all the watch stores that I could. And the first store, the first day, I met Rony.
Yeah.
And then we've been like good friends ever since. Like we would go to dinner, we didn't get a chance to like really drink too much. Um yeah, I mean, I would always come to his office and spend hours just hanging out with him, just shooting the shit, and yeah, we've
Talking
been we've
about
been
some
friends ever
watches,
since.
some news about operating, about the prices of the watches. At times they were raising, and raising. So good times it
Yeah,
was. And
he helped me with a lot of my custom Panerai straps, which I got from my Radomir. Yeah. I mean, he was just always there for me. So
That's
appreciate you,
pretty
brother.
cool.
come.
Yes, nice to
And
have you on, Roni. And Blake's told me a lot about you as well, man. I've heard many stories. I'm sure he wore you out with the time that he spent with you talking about watches while he was spending his time there.
yes, he loves watches. He is a good collector. He has a good collection, by the way, and I know all about it.
Oh yeah.
And
I
it's
don't
really
I, I don't think I wore him out as much as anybody else there because I would sit there and I spent a little bit of money, not a lot of money, but he had people sit there hanging out with them that wouldn't spend any money,
yes,
just sitting there.
yes. In Georgia, to tell the truth, the culture of the watches is just getting started. To tell the truth, because in Georgia it was people used to wear fake Patek Philips rather than original Longines, for example.
Right.
Longines. So now about like 5, 10 years, 5, 7 years maybe, it all started to change. So people started to got into the mind that it's better to wear real one and original one rather the fake one. So now we are getting into more the watch industry, let's say.
I think it'd be. I was glad to have you on because the watch market. We talked about this for a long time. That the watch market's not very mature. So a lot of our listeners are from like U.S., Canada. So we're used to a super mature watch market. You know, um, and yeah, I'm curious to know. Like, you never really told me the backstory on how you got into trading watches, and then eventually opened your store. So give us some details
Yes,
there.
the story is that my partner, who is in this business, he is in Europe. Now he is located in Vienna. He used to be in this business for a long time. And first, he started in Belgium, and then he moved to Vienna. So his idea was to start the business in Tbilisi too, because it has an attraction, the business itself in this country. So we decided to start it, and we started just buying the watches, and our segment was outside Georgia, like We used to sell many watches in Europe, sending it, and so on and so on. After that, after 8 months, we decided to open a shop on Pekini Street, and we started with a shop, with selling and buying the watches, changing, servicing, and we have the full complement of the service. Rest, it was going really good, everything, but then Corona made to know about itself. So everything changed in that moment because Corona changed many things in businesses, and many businesses closed. It went very slow, and so on and so on. But the real reason of closing the shop on Pekini was the owner of the shop, which was very strange. And let's say, I don't talk about people bad, but he was really bad man who just did not realize what's going on with Corona. And he said, just we need to make a pay raise. So I said, okay, no pay raise, we just split. And then we moved to Wake, near the Hilton Hotel. And the same was there. 2 years we were working there. And when the 2 years passed, the owner just came and said that I want a pay rise in like 100% pay rise. So I said, okay, we just split. That is the reason why now we don't have a shop and we operate just online. Now I'm just searching a shop to buy and to start again without rent, without the owners who will come and pay rise every month or every year. So this is a point why I'm looking for a shop to buy on a good place and to have all the service there, the watchmaker, changing the watches, trading, selling, buying, and so on.
Yeah, for, for most people who don't know, like it's very landlord friendly. Like all of the properties, the real estate, like the landlord can pretty much do whatever they want. Like and nobody has to answer. So like one day your rent can be this or your, and then the next day they can come and literally kick you out or, ask for more money on a moment's notice.
You were living in a rent here, and so you know how
Yeah.
it's. So it's very strange here, but you cannot do anything with it. Like yeah, the situation of the war, when the war started, and many Russians came, the prices raised, everybody wanted more. They kicked out some people from their places in the thinking that they will rent in high prices, but now the guys left and now they are left without anything. So so very
Wow.
strange situation, but it's how they are used to it, so you cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, it definitely affects your market as well. I mean, especially if you had a storefront. I mean, you've got people that are essentially, losing homes and things like that. They're not really looking to purchase watches and things. So I know that was very
Yeah,
tough.
there is a category always who loves watches, and the most thing is the trading, I think, because many of the clients and many people, as I see, they love trading the watches. Like they are not collectors, for example, like Blake. He always buys, saves, puts in the safe, and so on. But some people here, like most of them, they are trading because, as I told you, these watch lovers just starting to love their watches like 5 7 years, and they just getting to know it, and yet they don't know what is better, what is good. They just hear the, for example, I tell you, when we opened the shop, many people were coming in the shop asking for Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, but they did not even know what the watch was about. Like they just asked because they wanted to see what it was.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
people they become synonymous with names,
yeah,
brand names. I mean,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
how that works.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's casual thing, and many people were coming into the shop asking like, Patek, you have Patek? Can I see it? And it was strange, and about the movements, about, for example, some detailing, like they don't know many brands, Maybe, for example, one brand is better in another to another one in the moment, but this one is more famous than this another, so they know the famous one, and so they just go with it. And
Yeah.
especially there were brands like hyped brands, which in prices they raised a lot, and people went to that because they just looked not as like what I love or what I want to wear. They looked at it as an investment. I put money there, I know that I don't lose. And maybe in 1 year it will raise up and I will get more.
It's also a super challenge that I've noticed because there's really only maybe last time I checked like 3 places that you can get watches. One of them is Rony. There's another trader, and then there is like a retail front. And they sell like Panerai, like
Yeah,
Chopard.
they're official dealers. Yeah, the only
Yeah.
official dealers in Georgia.
And the prices are like I'd say like 30 or 40% higher there than they are here, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it made it really impossible to buy them, you know. Like I was looking at a Zenith, and the Zenith was like I think like I don't know, like 15, 17, 18,000. And here in the US it was like, you know, 9, 11.
Yeah, because
Wow.
the taxes, because of the VAT, they are adding VAT, they are adding their profit, this, and it's the prices are raising up. Yes, they are getting some discounts, but even with discounts, it's much more than on the retails outside Georgia.
And
That's
and so
insane.
like certain watch brands, from my understanding, like they'll set like a MSRP, like a retail recommended price, and they'll apply that to that market, so that way there's no price gouging. Like let's just say all the boutiques in Switzerland have this price, all the boutiques in London have this price, all the boutiques in the US have this price, but Georgia's not included in that, you know? Like they just do whatever the fuck they want, you know?
Yeah,
Um and I thought it would be a great place to buy watches, but you know, I learned my lesson there in a way, you know. So
yes, there was another one, except of that shop. They were the official dealers of Audemars Piguet and Hublot, who
oh, they
listener.
closed.
It was on Rustaveli Street, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
closed. Like they just get
They
out from the market.
they were open one day and then they were closed the next day, and I was like
Wow.
communicating with somebody through WhatsApp, and I was like, "Hey, I'm coming to see you," you know. And they were like, "Okay, okay." And I show up and there's a lock on the door, and I'm like, "Dude, why didn't you tell me that you were closed?" You know?
Yes, they
It's
were very working very strange. I don't know because, for example, there was an example. One guy wanted the Audemars Piguet. They had one, and that times it retailed like 29, 28, and they were asking 35 or 39, something like this. And it was strange, you know. I don't know
Wow.
if they worked, but for already 1 year they are out of the market.
yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. You know, I'm really not surprised. I mean, it seems like it's a complicated market. Um, and that's one reason why I kind of again wanted to have you on, because I love Tbilisi. I love you, man. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Um,
Me too.
and and yeah, I mean, if anybody can make it as a watch dealer, you come from a particularly challenging climate. So when you come out here and you stay with me in Vegas and you open your watch shop in Vegas, I'll be here.
Sure, sure. I need to come and visit you there.
Yeah,
By the way, I will apply soon on the visa.
yeah. I'm waiting.
I will
I'm
come there.
waiting.
I will come
So
there.
I'm
So what?
oh, sorry, but you can go ahead. I was going to ask something
No,
if
no.
you
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so while we're on that subject of you owning the shop and kind of looking for a location, I'm curious as to what watches you have in your collection that you keep.
For my collection,
He's a humble collector.
for my collection, to tell the truth, I have 3 Rolex in my collection. The most watch what I love is the Just 41 millimeter black dial oyster bracelet. This is what I use. I had
It's a good watch.
Omega Seamaster 41, but I could not use it, to tell the truth. I could not get used to it. I don't know why. And then I changed to this one, to the older model, and it's really nice on the hand. And maybe I keep it too. And that's it. And I have
Nice.
one Omega with collaboration with Swatch, which, by the way, was sent by Blake to me.
Yeah.
And we did a great job. It arrived to me, and in 1 week they brought it in Tbilisi in the retail shop for sale.
Yeah, it didn't, the timing wasn't so good because I went in there and he wanted a different color. I think he wanted the light blue, right? Was that right?
Yeah, light blue, the
And
Tiffany color, and there
yeah,
was only the yellow one, so we just took it.
yeah.
And
It
after
actually
1
looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. And after 1 week, I go to the retail, and there is a panic that they brought Omega collaboration with Swatch, and it's selling. And I went there. Even today, you can go easily there, buy without any problem. But now
When
there
it,
is another one with Black Pain, the collaboration. Interesting to check.
that's probably going to be like 8 months out or so.
Yeah,
I went to the opening. It was Saturday, the launch, and I waited in line. I was like 30th in line. I went there like an hour early. I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait more than an hour to get one of these watches. I was like 30th in line. I was guaranteed to get one. And I just said like, I just don't feel like waiting. So I left, right? Left, and then I was like, I'll check back later. I'll check back tomorrow. Where nobody's gonna be here. The Swatch stores, like the Moon swatches, they get shipments every day.
yeah,
So I was like, I'll just come back tomorrow. There'll be no line. So I come back the next day, which was yesterday. No line, but no watches. So I was like, okay, this backfired. But as I was standing in line, there's maybe like 5 people. Somebody's like, Blake. Turn around, and it was my Rolex dealer. And yeah, he's such a good guy. He left Rolex, but when I was in Georgia, he was literally like waiting for me to come back. I got my Oyster Perpetual from him, and yeah, he was wearing like one of the sickest like AP jumbos like you could get, and I was like, dude, when the hell did you get this? He's got like a gold Daytona. He's got the jumbo. I mean, he's got some sick ass
Wow.
watches.
Oh,
I know.
Interesting. By the way, I heard that many retailers started to sell watches in retail shops.
Yeah. There's a lot kind of changing in the market. From Vegas, for example. Rolex bought a company called Bucherer.
Yeah,
Bucherer has one of their biggest locations here in Vegas. And now Rolex is making profit on all the other brands. And I'm sure it's going to be the end of the mom and pop Rolex dealers. Why are they going to pay 40% to some mom and pop when they can take the whole cake?
yeah, sure.
And yeah,
That
so things
store
are
is
changing on.
that store is massive, by the way. The one in Vegas. We went in there last time I was visiting Blake just a month or two ago, and yeah, it's insane the amount of stuff in there that they have, and they also do sell, especially a lot of pre-owned Rolexes, which is pretty surprising. But yeah, pretty massive.
Before that, Bucherer started to buy the used ones, the second-hand watches, and before that acquisition, they you could take there the watch and they could just check the originality, what they were not making. So these two steps, and then they bought the whole company, let's say.
And
No.
now Bucherer is bigger, from my understanding, is bigger in jewelry than they are in watches. They got great watches, but they sell more jewelry. Like their jewelry is beautiful. So like
Yeah.
when you go upstairs at the Vegas boutique, it's just all jewelry. So now they're making, not just selling watches, or Rolex is just not producing watches, but now they have a jewelry manufacturer. They're an authorized dealer for over 25 brands now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they have their own store in multiple cities, like New York and here in
Yes,
Vegas.
they are all over in Europe. Like in Vienna, they have like on the main street 2 or 3 shops, and in Munich and Budapest, everywhere they are everywhere, and it's interesting. But the most interesting thing in the watches is that the price, which dropped comparing to the previous year, and it's really strange, the hyped prices of the expensive watches fell so hard that people start to get afraid of buying these watches. Before that, they did not care. They were buying as an investment, but now they just get scared. If I buy a watch worth 100,000 today and it's worth, for example, 40,000 tomorrow, it's a big loss. So they start to overthink about it. Even the mature countries, population
Oh yeah,
start to think about it. And now I
is
always say, sorry to interrupt, I always say that now people started to buy what they like. For example, I go to Omega, I like Omega, I want it on my hand, I buy it. Because before you had the choice, for example, you buy Omega or you buy Rolex, which was an investment and the prices went high, and Omega, which you liked, but as a personality, you just went to the Rolex style because it was an investment. But now they started to buy what they like. Like it's all got corrected, let's say. It's like when I started in 2016, it came almost to that prices, plus minus.
let's yeah, I mean I agree 100%. The market's changing and a lot of people aren't buying. And so and within 6 months or a year, especially here in the States, like, with the possible recession, or some people say it's here, right? Whatever. There's a lot of uncertainty, and yeah, so people are scared for sure. And I've noticed all the Rolex boutiques that I've been, like I was at Rolex Saturday, and there was like a Gerard Perigo event, and I got to see all these crazy Gerard Perigo pieces.
I saw the stories you were posting about those. They're pretty
Dude,
sweet.
they were
Yeah,
crazy.
on the story, yes, the bridge one and the crazy pieces, yeah.
The Esmeralda, the Sapphire, Laureato. I mean, dude, there was some crazy stuff. One of the executives of Gerard Perigo was there, as well, and they brought all these pieces in. They had the Aston Martin Formula One watch, which immediately sold. They were like, hey, some of these are for sale. Sold immediately when I was there. And yeah, so a lot of people are scared. A lot of people aren't buying watches because of that fear, right? People are scared. I was curious to ask you your favorite watch of all time. Hard one.
My favorite, very hard one, but I love my 41 day just. Like
I
I
was gonna.
think my favorite one because
Uh,
I don't look at the watch as a. I don't like when the watch is screaming on your hand. Let's say rose gold, two tone. Like I don't like it as a personality. For me, steel or white gold I prefer more than the rose gold and yellow gold. So this one is for everyday use. Like I always say, whatever you have, you need to use. You need to use the things. If you don't use, why you should have it? So,
That's right.
from my personal view, the watch is perfect for everyday use. So I love it. I think this is my favorite one. Even I have Daytona. mm, to tell the truth, it's much more high price, much more complicated, but I prefer, for example, Digest in this case. Simple.
I thought. I thought you were gonna say Daytona. To be honest, because that was what
No,
I saw you wearing every day.
yeah, I'm wearing it too, but I prefer to tell the truth the Digest 41. Don't know. It's simple one. I had many watches through my career, let's say. I bought, sold many watches and complicated ones with moon face and sun face and everything complicated. But when I wear it, I never look at it. I never use it. So my perception is to be as simple as it is.
What color is your Daytona? I'm
Uh,
curious.
Black one from 2011.
Okay.
It's a black with a steel bezel.
Still bezel,
So
yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a beautiful watch. Okay.
This beautiful watch. Yes, beautiful, but like I told honestly my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a super humble answer too. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really see the point in buying an extravagant amount of watches. Not poking at you or anything, Blake, but I am there comes a time where I feel like there is a watch that is suited for every situation. Not to necessarily be within those confines of like, I need a sport watch, I need a dress watch, I need a diver, but like I'm very particular about if I'm going to purchase a watch, I want to make sure that it has a specific rhyme and reason. I love it through and through. And
Yeah.
I've said this countless times on this show. I'm not the type of guy to go out and spend money on a watch just for the hell of it. I'm like, it's going to be there for a reason. Um, but I'm curious, Roni. So, what is it to you that makes a watch unique?
And what's unique? I think movement.
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 So like the
Uh,
complications inside. How about like the design or like the materials and things like that?
Look about the watches. There are many people who like, for example, Jacob and Co, which is very complicated for me, which has another style, like Godfather. There's
I've seen
singing,
one. Yeah.
music, and there are people who like, for example, like me, that they just casual one, like about taste, we cannot fight. That's the one thing. But in overall, I understand that this Jacob and Co is much more in high price because of the style of the movement of the
That's
work
right.
what they have done and so on. Like movement is the most important thing in the watch. That's why, for example, some brands as Richard Mille, Patek Philippe, they are much more, let's say, high priced because steel is steel, let's say. Like there may be some changes in steel, some differences, but steel is steel, yes. So it's a moment. I suppose it's a moment. And complicated movements, sure, that's why it's worth tourbillon, for example, much higher price rather than the casual one.
That's a
Hmm.
great answer.
I wasn't expecting you just to say just date chest. Humble date chest.
Yeah, I got used to that watch so hard that like it's simple one. That's why it's nice on hand.
I I do love my date chest, and I wear it
Yeah.
a lot. Um, So obviously, as a trader, you get watches in and you move them out. What's one of the craziest watches that's ever came into your possession?
In my position, there were many watches, but to tell the truth, there was Rolex rose gold, 41 millimeter with baguette dial, diamond, and ruby.
Wow.
It was crazy watch, crazy watch. Very nice one. I'm not a lover, as I said, of the gold one. I had it on my hand 1 2 days, but it was perfect match, perfect watch. But there were there were One Cleef, there was Jack Draw, Bowitt, like many watches. I cannot specify the most
Did
specific one. But
did
this
that
Rolex,
watch come? Did that watch come into your boutique whenever you were working there? Is that how you saw it?
yeah, from the private client.
That's wild.
The thing is here, the priced watches. I tell you one thing. Let's say a difference in, for example, real estate and watches. For example, you have 100,000 in USA, in Europe. With 100,000, you cannot do anything. You cannot buy apartment. You cannot buy, as far as I know, because the prices of the real estate is much higher. Yes, with 100,000 here, you can buy a flat. You can go and you can buy 2 3 bedroom flat. So here nowadays, if you have only, for example, 100,000 for a watch, you don't buy a watch. Like it's different, you know. There, if you have 1,000, you can say that, okay, I have 1,000, I cannot do anything with it. I go there, buy a watch, put on my hand, and it's what I love, what I like. So here are many reasons, many small reasons, why it's a new market, why it's a new, let's say, it's not mature market in this.
Right.
So here the population buys like watches 10, 15,000, more popular rather than, for example, 50 or 100 or 20, 200,000. As Blake said, the Aston Martin Gerard Perregaux was sold immediately. So here, I suppose it would not be sold so immediately, so
It's a
fastly.
different market.
Yeah,
Yep.
different market,
Yep.
different thoughts, different thinking, and it's everything different. I started in 2016, and nowadays I see a big difference in this case too.
Yeah, even such a short amount of time. I mean, that's only been, 7, 8 years, and it
Yeah.
changes drastically. I'm curious, did for the Rolex that had came into your boutique, um, I'm assuming you didn't purchase it from this private seller. Was there any deal that was done?
How, I don't understand.
So the Rolex that we were speaking of before, that you mentioned, the
Yeah.
gold with the rubies and things, was that someone that had came in to sell that watch, or was it just somebody wearing one?
No, it's who came to sell it, who wanted to sell it, because he bought a
Gotcha.
car and he needed money, so he wanted to sell for. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
I
so what makes you like decide to purchase those watches to make that deal with people that are trying to sell their watches whenever you owned your boutique store?
it's business, you know. We have many connections. We know where to sell it, how to sell it, what is demanded, and it's already the business is telling you how to work. I tell you directly. There were some cases where, for example, a client brought very high priced Hublot watch, but I did not have an interest in it because I don't know where to sell it. I don't have a client for it, and I don't want to put so much money in it and wait until I can sell it. It may take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So I just don't want to wait so long. So maybe commission is more better in this situation rather just to pay cash.
It's interesting that you say that too, because I've always kind of felt that way. Not to say that Rolex are overrated or say anything like that, but I generally feel like people deal with Rolex because they're more commonly seen. A lot of people are more comfortable with them.
Yeah.
So they're easier to move the inventory, and of course find other authorized dealers and people that can service them and things of that
Sure,
nature.
sure. Because Rolex, it's a good brand. We cannot say that it's not a good brand or
Right.
it's bad watches or it's really good. It's really good brand. It's working very good. It has a good movement. It has a good stylish watches, and the watches what they have, it became very popular in all segment, boys, girls, men, mature people, everybody likes it. Everybody wants to wear it. They have, for example, 31 millimeter, 26, 41. So everybody wants to wear the watch, and it became very popular. Hublot watches in that size, for example, take in. I'm not saying anything bad about Hulu, but they have very good pieces, high-priced pieces, which worth 200, 300. Like they have very good ones, but the price range of what you can buy in Rolex and what you can buy in Hublot, I think like 90% prefer Rolex because they are more usable. Not
I would
even
ag-
in,
Yeah.
yeah, not
I would
even,
agree.
I'm not talking about the investment. I'm talking about the usable of a person who is looking at them and who likes more this steel, for example, rather than the rubber strap. So
Yeah.
it's like a taste, but there are some people who just likes this brand and who just wants to buy it and they don't care how it will be in the future. There are brands, for example, which you buy in 100,000 US dollar in retail price, and if you want to sell it after 1 year, you get like $5,000, and it's really hard. But this kind of brands people buy because they love it, they want it, and it's their dream just to wear it, and that's it.
I'm curious because when I was there and I was hanging out with you at your shop, you probably had at the time maybe 70, 80
Yeah,
pieces in your inventory.
yeah.
Um, with the fragility, with how sensitive the market is in Tbilisi, like how do you decide which pieces to buy from the market or a retail customer? Like what was
Mhm.
your thought process like when coming into your inventory and building your inventory?
Look, the case is simple. When you are in this business, you study what is demanded, what is not demanded. You have clients, not only private clients, you are working with the dealers too. So you can just trade the watch with dealers. You can sell to dealers, other you can buy from dealers too. So you are always in tonus, let's say. You are always here, there, working on this. So that's what I'm saying, what I said before, that when you are in this business, it doesn't mean that you need to buy everything. And it's not, for example, a rule that this is my price and that's it. Everything is on negotiation. Like maybe you can buy a watch and not cannot sell it on private client, but you can sell it to other dealer or you can trade it to other dealer. But the business itself, the industry shows you what is more demanded. So you just work on it. It's like a practice. It's after time you realize you studied, and you need to always read. You need to always be read the articles, what changed, how changed, and so on and so on. So this is how we worked. And when you have a shop, it's more easy to buy a piece and like not expensive. I mean, like in a little cheaper pieces, it's much easier to buy and wait until they are sold.
Yeah. I mean, when I was there, you had a solid selection. You had,
Yeah,
I remember you had that Ferrari Panerai.
yeah, I had it. It was sold, by the way, on Chrono to USA.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then I remember that Navitimer. You had that sick Nava timer
Now
that I was
I'm
thinking
Black
about.
one, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was
yeah.
that was a sick one.
Many, yeah, many watches went through me, and it's always like this, you know. It's always going, coming. When you are in this business, you don't look at a watch like what you like. You just look at it like where you can earn, and you just start to think otherwise. For
Is
me, sorry, once again, for me, for example, when somebody here, many clients, many people know, they were entering the shop and asking what you have a good piece. A good piece for me is everything where I can earn because I am in this business. It will be Longines, it will be Omega, Rolex. It does. I don't care. Like if I earn, it's a good piece for me. So I always say to them that what do you mean in good piece? What you are looking? Tell concrete like sporty, classic, what brand, and so on and so on.
there ever been a piece that you took in for the store and then you just fell in love with it and you just never sold it? Is that what happened? I think that's what happened with your Daytona, right?
There, Daytona was the case. I took the piece, and it was the times of Corona. I was wearing it, and then I got used to it and just left it. And but in price ranges, to tell the truth, that time Daytona was very hyped and the prices were very high. But today the prices fell really hard, really hard.
Yeah,
Daytonas especially. But
yeah.
one thing what I always say is that a watch which retails 15 and 20,000, it must not cost on the gray market 100 and 200,000. Like let's take into example the new Patek Philippe Nautilus with green dial. It
Yep.
was last year like 900,000. Today you can easily find it like 300, 280, something like I think in this range. And imagine how what a drop it is.
People lost their ass off
Yeah,
during like this hype, like this market hype.
yeah,
And some people may have never recovered. I mean, I guess if you're buying watches at that price, like, you should understand what you're getting yourself into, which a lot of people really don't, surprisingly. They're just like, "Oh, this is a hype watch. It's just going to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb." But
yeah.
reality, it crashes.
Crashes, yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
it's very hard. That's why I'm telling that. That's why I'm saying that you always need to read and study what is demanded, what's not, what's gonna happen. Like you cannot make a prognosis on it, but you can just the feeling. Like sometimes I bought a watch on a feeling and not on a business style. Like maybe I don't know the watch, I don't know the model, but I had the feelings that I could earn on it and I made it. Sometimes it was okay, sometimes not, but this is a business. As you win, you can lose. So this is very easy, especially in this business. In watch industry, it's very easy.
where do you see the market heading, in Tbilisi or in Georgia, like within the next 10 years? Do you see the market maturing? Do you see it slowing down? I mean, it sounds like it's slowed down a
No, I
lot.
don't think it will slow down. I think it will probably go to the mature, and people will get used to this watch industries and watches because, as I told before, people start to realize the reality of the watches that they need to wear. That the watch is the one thing what men can wear. Let's say like it shows your personality what you are wearing, let's say. Like I maybe cannot interpret from Georgia, but like I think you understand what I mean, that this is the only jewelry what man has to wear. A girl can wear these bracelets, necklaces, rings, everything, but like watch, it shows that you have a personality, let's say. So it's getting more common that people start buying the watches.
When you get in your Speedmaster, Rony's been talking about getting a Speedmaster for over a year now to me, and I'm like, dude, just get one, just get one.
Yeah, I like the watch Speedmaster, the Moon watch, but to tell the truth, I feel sorry about that because I don't want to sell any of my Rolex and to buy this watch. And as a dealer, I don't want to pay as much in the retail because one day it can come in much less price. So I just keep it with it, and that's it. So that's why I'm not into uh, Speedmaster for now. But
Well,
I will.
luckily the Speedmaster has never really like been through those huge price fluctuations like the Daytona or some of the Rolex models. Like it's been pretty
Stable.
steady.
Yeah, it's stable and like except of I think Audemars, Patek, Rolex, none of the brands like IWC, Breitling, Omega, they were not hyped. They were like maybe 10%, 15% up, down, but the amount of retail and from that amount of 10%, it's not that money what, for example, change your weather. It's like from 5,000, 10%, 500, like, okay, it's not a big deal. But in 50,000, 10%, 20%, it's already a lot.
Yeah. What
I was, I was just gonna say, Blake. I know that you had mentioned the Navitimer earlier. Did you tell him about your new piece?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got a Navit. So Justin was here in Vegas like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, 5 6 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. And so I was taking him around all the boutiques, just showing him all the boutiques, introducing him to some of my contacts. Um and I thought Justin was interested in purchasing a watch. I guess not, maybe not. I don't know. He's a slow burn,
I'm particular.
I kind of, yeah, he's very particular. I'm the same way, but like when you see a certain watch and right, you're just like, all right, I have to buy this. So I took Justin to like a pawn shop. We're lucky in Vegas because people unfortunately will go to the casino and they'll lose their ass off. They'll lose all their money. And what's the first thing that they pawn? Their watch.
yeah.
So and they'll pretty much take whatever these pawn shops will give them, like. So we walked in, and I immediately saw a Navitimer 1, which was I thought it was a 41 millimeter, but it was a 38 millimeter on the bracelet, stickered up. It wasn't the chronograph Navitimer. It was just the 3-hander, and it was a blue dial with a white slide ruler. And I tried it on, and just immediately like
You are like,
melted.
I need to buy it.
He
Yeah.
couldn't take his eyes off of it, bro. He was like just twiddling with it for like 30 minutes. I was like, bro, you might as well just buy it. Like,
You need
what's
to
going
buy
on?
it.
So ironically, that was like our first stop in the watch tour, right? So we went there, and then I was like at a Breitling boutique after, and I was like, I want to see this watch again, because it's still current. It's in their current collection. Sold for $5,800 at retail. They didn't have it, so I just went back and I just picked it up. $2,500 for the Navitimer.
Nice price.
Yeah, and
So there, when people lose all their money, they put their watches in low prices, as I see. Yes.
yeah, well, they need money, right? And so like they're desperate, like they're sadly, but they're desperate, and so they'll take whatever whatever these pawn shops will give them.
Yeah.
And those like, look, I just lost $5,000. My watch is worth $6,000. Like, just give me $2,000 for it, so that way I can take this $2,000 and go earn the money back that I lost.
But you
And
enter and that's it.
the watch is gone.
The watch is gone, the money is gone.
Yeah, I mean, the watch was entirely stickered too. Like, nobody noticed that except for me, but it had stickers on the case, sticker on the case back. Unfortunately, it was just watch only, unfortunately. And that happens a lot here in Vegas, because of that reason, right? They'll leave the watch, they'll leave the box, they'll leave the warranties at home, thinking they're just going to wear the watch here, and,
They end up selling it anyway.
Yep.
The same was here, for example, like many years ago. The same was here in casinos when people were losing their money. They were coming out and selling their cars in pennies. Like I don't know, when the car was worth 10,000, 15,000, they were selling it for 1,000, 2,000, and it was like that. But that time, like maybe I think who played in casino was maybe 1% who had watches, and for sure there was not any pawn shop who will pawn a watch, or the industry was not so popular and known that time. So they were selling cars, houses, I don't know. Like I always thought that in Vegas, when people are coming, they are ready. That they, for example, put money. For example, $10,000 they put in pocket. They win. They go. If they win, it's okay. If they lose, and that's it. But here
No,
it's different. Here they always try to win, and they always lose.
it's the same here. I mean, this whole city was built on losers. It wasn't built on winners, right?
Yeah,
The only people that are winning are the people that run the casinos.
yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
Yep. Yeah, I remember. So when I moved to Vegas, and when I came to Tbilisi, I went to that casino, like by where we used to live, like there in Sabertalo, like on the corner.
Ajara, yes.
Yeah, it's just like a total shitty casino. I was just like expecting it to be.
Yeah, here was many casinos before, because there were no regulations, nothing, and here were many casinos, not as in Las Vegas. I don't know how it's there, but as I saw in movies, it's very high
Thousands here.
luxury ones. But here they were shitty ones, but people were going there and losing. Like nobody cared it was shitty one or not. So
Because they were losing.
yeah. And they
They're
just
like,
try
I just want to leave it.
they just try to go there and to get back what they lost, but in this time they lost everything.
They had some games there like I had never seen before, like in my life. Like some of the blackjack games, like they were like super odd, Like they're not
I'm not a
traditional.
big lover of the casino, so I can't tell about it.
Yeah.
I was there only 3 times. 2 times I was kicked out because I went there to take out my relative, and once I was with my relatives, and I just sat on blackjack. As I remember, I lost there $50. I was very upset, stood up, and went out from there.
That's the way it happens,
That's right.
Tell us what watches. So I'm assuming you still have a bunch of inventory because you probably have a bunch of stuff on Chrono 24.
Yeah.
Tell.
Yeah. For now, I have inventory, and as I said, we work online. The working online, it's not so easy, let's say, because you are always on the phone and not on live with people. But the thing is that in every business You need to have your reputation. You need to have your respect. And what I just wanted when we started this business was not just the financial things that I want to earn and that's it. It was to build something, to build and to get known to people who you are. So it took a bit time, and we have big connections here. Everybody, like Tbilisi is small, and everybody knows everybody. So I built everything on this respect and trust. So even working online, I don't have any problem with somebody because everybody trusts you, everybody believe, and I always say that I'm working directly with people. I always say to them the pros and cons, what can happen, so they can be ready with this. I never promise what I cannot make, and I don't play. There were some guys who played pyramids that they bought a watch and took monies and they put this money somewhere. Like I just make one business from another. One is finished, I make another. This is my style of working. And to tell the truth, it pays off because here are many people who work in, for example, diamonds. Yes, there is a diamond market
Gold.
for like gold market, for example. You go there and everybody are like talking, talking, talking. Nobody does business.
Crazy.
Yes, you were there, as I know, and
Oh my God, it's crazy.
so I just built everything on this, and this is how it's going better and better. I prefer to work slow but make business rather to make some bad decisions which will harm our reputation or the respect of people. I just prefer to work easy and directly.
Tell us some of the so we have listeners obviously, and I'm not sure where the listeners are out in the buying process, but tell us about some of the pieces because we're gonna link you in the description of this podcast. So tell us about what you have in and tell us what's available. So hopefully some of the listeners will scoop some of them.
There are available. To tell the truth, I have some few Rolexes left. I sold all out of stock when the price started to fall down. There are some Breitlings, IWC, like I cannot name, but I always keep in stock 50, 60 watches, which I always have. So, as I told you, I'm rebranding now the company, and I will have a new website, which I will send you, and you can later check. And the people who are watching us can check there. And also, we will be on Chrono again, and also on Instagram too, with new rebranded names.
Yeah. There's a lot of gyms that come through Georgia. Um and so yeah, I'm glad that you were able to come on.
Yeah, we'll happy if somebody will is coming from USA to Georgia. We'll be happy to host. If
He
somebody will
will.
be interesting to meet and to talk about watches and see, no problem. You can arrange it.
Yeah. Yeah, I trust Rony with all my money. That goes on
Thank
the record.
you. Thank you, my friend. Me too.
Well, let's wrap it up. We're coming up here on an hour, so I didn't want to take up too much of your time. So, Justin, is there any final questions you had?
I'm good, man. Rony, it was nice to meet you, man. I'm like I
Thank you.
said, I've heard a lot about you, man. I'm gonna have to head out there and see you sometime.
Thank you. Thank you very much for me too. It was a pleasure to talk with you and to get to know the audition. So we'll be in touch in the future too.
Definitely so.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very
Rony's
much.
links are going to be in the description. This was, like I said, going to be a low key talk. This is a friend here that we have, family member. All of his links will be in the description. Like I said, I'm sure you can pick some watches up from him. He always does his due diligence. obviously, especially in Georgia, there's a lot of fakes, that come through.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, about
Rony,
fake, we didn't talk, but there are a lot, which people
This
don't
guy's
understand.
legit.
Yeah, which
yeah,
people understand, and it's needs to be rejected. Sure.
it's some of the stuff that you had, like, kind of, almost fooled me. Like that Speedmaster. I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, there's the Daytona you had too that came through. I mean, it's just. But anyways, the whole point I was trying to make is that Rony does his homework, and yeah, he'll only take good watches on, and he throws his reputation on the like we all do. He throws his reputation on the line with every transaction, and this is one of the best guys to
Honesty.
buy watches from.
Sure.
Yeah,
Honesty is the best courtesy.
Yeah, and we have here that a man always need to pay for his words. So when you say something, it need to be done. I even tell you at the beginning, even now, there are sometimes when I, for example, tell high price or I may be mistaken, but this is what it is. When I say a word, it needs to be done. That's it.
One of the best guys to buy watches from in the world, right here, Rony. So I mean that.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. So everybody, links are in the description for Rony. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's a pleasure.
Bye. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.